Okay, so now for the next video, let's talk about the schooling system here in Canada for those people, especially the South Africans that are thinking of coming over, and maybe the people that haven't been in school for a long while. The schooling system is great. I mean, the kids get a good education. They've got I can't speak for all the other schools, but in West Van they've got so many different things they can choose from. There's just so many after school activities, not that my kids do any of those. And the classes are great. Obviously COVID has disrupted the whole thing, so the schooling system has changed drastically from what it was, and I don't know if it's ever going to go back to that, although in the beginning of this year they actually said they're going to go back to the old schooling system, and then there was the next wave obviously, and then the whole thing kind of fell flat again and they went back to this only, although this time last year they had 2 classes per quarter. This time they have 4 subjects per half year, so it's slightly different. But yeah, it's good. The one thing you got to know about the schools though is that, I mean, the schools here, the kids have a lot more freedom. It's like, I don't know, when we were this age we were experimenting and we were learning about stuff and all that, but I guess that there's just so much more openness in the schools these days. You've got 14-year-old girls, friends, or people that Angelique know that go, yes, I'm bi or I'm gay. So there's a lot more. They are a lot more open about sexuality. Marijuana is legal in Canada. Cannabis use is legal in Canada, and I mean, I hear about a lot of kids in school that it is in the schools. Kids experiment with it. Then the whole vaping thing is also quite big here in the Canadian schools. Everybody's vaping and everybody's trying that out. Yeah, there's a lot more freedom. I look at the kids and I think about our days when we were dressed in school uniforms and everybody looked the same and everybody got treated. You were there, and now everybody wears whatever they want to school. Sometimes I go pick up the kids or I drop off the kids and I just go, whoa, hang on a second. But there doesn't seem to be too many rules around it. And, I mean, we live in a different age, and I don't know if it's just Canada or if it's everywhere. But it is something that I experience. Kids speak about a lot of things openly these days that I feel was almost, how would you put it? It's almost, I don't know. I'm in two minds. On the one hand, I feel like, shit, man, I didn't really want you to kind of speak about this and start thinking about this stuff until you're a little older. But on the other hand, at least we try and be open to our kids, and we don't shout and scream and get mad. We just communicate with them. I mean, I would rather have my kids open and able to talk to me about anything than try and shame them or force them to not think about things and to not act, or not, I won't say act, to not think about things and to not discuss things and try go to other people that's probably not going to give them the same advice I am. So we try to be open about it. It's I guess for every parent knows it's actually quite hard. Sometimes your kid comes along and goes, hey, yeah. Luckily, oftentimes it's just phases. My friend is bi, and I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like, I don't know. But anyway, it seems like kids grow up a lot sooner these days. It's just, and I know I'm talking about the Canadian school system and specifically West Vancouver, but I don't think it's unique. I think it's everywhere. I mean, the internet is where kids pick it up. TV, shows, everywhere. TikTok. It's not the school system's fault. I think the school is trying their best to adapt and to deal with it. So they've got counselors that help kids with questions. They actually, I think, are doing a really great job. But having said that, if you are a staunch if you know, the school system is kind of a little bit liberal over here. It is. And if you're a staunch conservative that wants your kids to grow up with strict discipline and things like that, it's probably not ideal to go and put them in the Canadian public school system. You're going to have to, I don't know, find a Catholic school or something. Yeah, not much more to say about the school system, you know. Kids will be kids. They've got friends, and friends change, and they do all these things. At least one thing that's cool, and that's one of the reasons we moved here, is that they do have the ability to be kids a little bit more, in the sense that they're not locked up in their homes. Now, you know, that's also a two-edged sword, because on the one hand, when we were in South Africa, if they wanted to go somewhere, we had to take them there, and we had to kind of watch over them, although they were also younger then. And we had more control over their movements and what they experience and who they meet and where they go and everything like that. Whereas over here, like I said in previous videos, I mean, the kids come from school, they get on the bus, they go to the mall, they go across town to the other side to a big mall. I think Angelique, it's the 26th today, so Angelique is going with her friends on the bus to Metro Town, because on the Boxing Day there's a whole lot of specials, so they want to go buy clothes. I mean, they're literally going to take the bus from here, jump on a train, go on the train to the mall, and then go and do shopping and come back. And they do that, and they can do that, and we allow them to do that because it's safe, and it's, you know, that's what we used to do. Well, not trains and buses, we used to ride our bikes, but yeah, you can't ride your bike in the snow, I guess. And kids these days don't ride bikes that much anymore. But anyway, yeah, I mean, we used to always also go out, and that's at least something that we wanted for our kids, and we have it here, which is amazing. As for the education itself, I mean, the kids have got so many subjects they can choose from. My kids have got Japanese. Connor loves it. Angelique actually, I think, is going to drop it. She doesn't like it at all. She's going to take Spanish. They have to take a language. Because even like at UBC, if they want to go to the university, University of British Columbia, they have to have a second language that they're good at, and unfortunately Afrikaans doesn't count. So it's English and French, English and Spanish, English and Japanese, any one of the other. There's a bunch of them. So yeah, subjects great. I mean, I love that they've got entrepreneurship in school. I mean, Connor this year did a project where they traded shares. They needed to trade shares. I think him and his team ended up 21st in British Columbia. So that's cool. I mean, they've got really cool subjects. But I guess you have that everywhere in the world. Any which way, just my thoughts on schools and kids and everything. I love it. I wouldn't lie to you if I don't say that I would have preferred a little bit more discipline on the one hand, but I also know that we don't live in those years anymore, you know. Think about my school years. I used to get a hiding every day for being naughty. Nowadays, that doesn't exist anymore, which I think is a good thing, because people say it's abuse. Me, I just took it in my stride. But yeah, so yeah, on balance, I think we made the right choice. I believe we made the right choice. The kids enjoy it here. Sometimes it's not always easy for parents to you know, especially coming from a very conservative Afrikaans upbringing like we have. Some things are hard to do, but you just got to do it, you know. The ability to speak openly to our kids is very important to us, and that's what we do. You know, we've realized that, well, Angelique specifically, from this younger age, you know, if she did something wrong and you gave her a smack on the bum, she would go do it again. She's always been one of those, like, very, like, if you come at her head on, she is very, very headstrong. So you have to come at her from another angle, and we figured that out. Just an interesting little interesting little thing. So a little extra story. So what we do is, obviously in the house we have chores. The kids have chores, and they've always been getting pocket money, but their pocket money, you know, they kind of have to do their chores for the pocket money. That's the trade-off. Now, it hasn't always been going that great, especially lately. The older they get, number one, they want more pocket money, and number two, they're getting a little bit more lazy. I think, in teenage years are the years when you're trying to figure out where you fit in, and you're trying to question things. Why must I do that? Why, so then they oftentimes they don't do the dishes, or they don't do their chores properly, and and then end of the month comes, I must give the pocket money, or the beginning of the month, and I can't be like, oh shit, you haven't done the dishes 2 nights, so I'm going to deduct a few dollars for pocket money. So when I was at the Bitcoin week in Puerto Rico recently, I found this app that the guys there use. It's a Bitcoin app, so it's payments in Bitcoin, but it's free, so there's no charges to pay it. And I thought, I had an idea, because I want my kids to learn about cryptocurrencies and blockchain, because I do believe, based on what I've seen over the last couple of months, that is the future of the world. I mean, we are going to get a lot more involved with that, Is it going to solve all the world's problems? I think they're a little bit optimistic around that. But for the rest, it is here to stay, and it's going to be around. So I thought, hang on a second. One of the key things of Web3 in blockchain is micropayments. So let me implement a micropayment system for the chores. So I scrapped the whole pocket money system. I gave them each this app, and I pay them in Satoshis, which is the smallest denomination of Bitcoin. So every time they do a chore, if it's your turn to do the dishes and you've done the dishes, I pay you 3,000 Satoshis, which is roughly equivalent to $2 or $1, whatever, depending on the value of crypto. And it's micropayments. So if you don't do a chore, it's no problem. You just don't get paid. If you want money, if you want extra money, there's a list of other things that need to be done around the house as well, that's on top of your chores. I mean, I even put it in there, oh, you can come spend time with Dad for an hour and a half. I'll give you a few Satoshis. So now they want to spend time with us. I know it's bribery, but, like somebody said on a, on a post, it's not bribery, it's incentivization. So I'm incentivizing them to do their chores now and to spend time with us and do stuff. So I got this little app. Every time they do something, I pay them on the spot. If they do something that's on the list for payment, they get paid on the spot. So if they run out of money, they come in, they do a whole bunch of things, and it's actually working quite nicely. So yeah, it's interesting. I'll put a link to the app in the description if you want to check it out. Another thing that's happened now, because I could have just gone and used Venmo or one of these little payment apps and paid them real dollars every time, but like I said, I also wanted them to start learning about cryptocurrencies, and that's why I'm paying them in Bitcoin. So now what's happening is they get paid in Bitcoin, but as we all know, the value of Bitcoin fluctuates. It goes up and down. So now they're sitting and they've got their Satoshis, and they go, well, the Bitcoin has gone down now, so if I cash in my Satoshis now, I get less money than when I actually, if I just wait a little bit and the price goes up again, my Satoshis are worth more. So they actually seem to be spending a little less now as well, and they just cash in enough money to buy the stuff that they want to buy, because they don't want to risk. They all believe, as I do, that the price of Bitcoin is still going to go up dramatically. So if that happens, it's going to, they're starting to understand the concept of holding onto your assets and saving and waiting for growth. So that's really cool. Oh, and there's another thing. Well, for all of you out there that are thinking about cryptocurrencies and haven't done it just yet, this link to this app in the bottom, by the end of this video, you can just go download it, and you can own your own first Bitcoin in your life. Not a whole Bitcoin, a few Satoshis. Because what this app has is every day, every 24 hours, you can spin a wheel and you can win a bunch of Satoshis, and it's not big money. It's anywhere from a cent to about $10, I think is the most, or yeah, $5 to $10. Any which way. But you could actually own your very own Bitcoins, a small portion of Bitcoins now. And it's like I said to the kids, the thing is, it's only a few Satoshis now, but think, 8 years ago, if Bitcoin was worth almost nothing, and if you had a few Bitcoins, people were thinking, what's this worth? It's not worth anything. At the same time, if you held on to it, you would now be worth millions of dollars. So I'm not saying the same thing's going to happen, but the reality is that I honestly believe the price of crypto is going to go up, Bitcoin specifically, and those Satoshis might be only worth a cent now, but it could be worth $100 in 2 or 3 years time. Who knows? Might as well, if you're getting it for free, grab it. Anyway, now I've completely digressed. I've got another channel called Bitcoin for Boomers where I'm going to go more into these things. But as far as schooling goes, yeah, on the one hand, to sum it up, kind of liberal. I would have preferred a little bit more discipline and everything, but I don't think it's the Canadian schooling system's problem. I think it is just, the world that we live in. On the other hand, the freedoms that they have, it's amazing. They can do things, they can learn, they've got support at school. And I think, for kids, things are a lot harder these days. We used to pass notes. Now everybody's sitting on Snapchat immediately talking about stuff. It's a little bit nuts. Anyways, guys, have a good one. Cheers.